Hello and welcome to our weather and wellness chat for Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. My name is Sheila O'Connor. I'm a holistic health coach and educator. And on this channel, I explore how weather can inform our diet and lifestyle choices so that we are living our best life every single day. And we can use the information when we wake up, when we look at the forecast, to just make little adjustments so we know what we might want to eat, not eat, and things like that as we are going through our week and all the fun things and all the great things we're doing in our lives. So, today we're going to talk about how to read a weather forecast and all the information you can get. We'll look at barometric pressure today, UV index, a little bit about solar maximum, and then I'm going to talk about sleep. Now, the idea for this channel is that I'm going to tell you how I'm looking at this information, suggest one or two things you can do to kind of keep your body and your mind and your spirit all in balance in terms of your diet or your lifestyle. I'm going to be looking at a couple locations, and the idea is that you can use that information to apply to your own location. And as you watch the channel more, you're going to see the patterns and you're going to be able to do this yourself. And hopefully it will become a little bit more natural. It's taken me over a decade of looking at these patterns, probably way more than that, even working as a primary school teacher ages long time ago, and noticing how the full moon was really changing the dynamic in the classroom, and the energy was very swirly, very different than other times, storms and winds. So we're going to look at that. So let's get started for today. Now we're going to go ahead and share the screen, and I'm going to be looking at London. This is the biometeorological. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there. Biometeorological forecast for London. And I'll be doing London. I live in London. I'll look at around the UK. And so it looks like today, you can see here we have at 3. So if you know that you're biosensitive, then you definitely will want to see what's causing that. This is solar activity coming from geomagnetic conditions, and this is solar activity coming from the UV radiation. It looks like it's going to be the same for the next couple of days. Now, I do know that we are in solar maximum where the sun is really active, and it could end up being more active this week. I know we definitely had a big flare. I wouldn't be surprised to see this actually change for tomorrow. Now, this is always a good place to have a look. I'm also going to look at the Weather Channel. There's lots of different sources you can get a lot of the same weather information. So this shows us it's 21 degrees Celsius, which is about 71, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Another bonus as you watch the channel, you'll start to hopefully get some patterns of what the temperatures are, and maybe you'll become bilingual in Celsius and Fahrenheit. So that will be kind of a fun thing as well. The humidity isn't too bad, so we know it's pretty comfortable. It's not too windy. Really, it's great. And we're gonna look at the pressure next. Okay, barometric pressure for London. Look at this. I like to look at this graphic here. Let's see if we can stretch this out for the last 72. Okay, I like this view right here. So this line here shows us where we are now. This is the barometric pressure. We've been on a steady rise, and we have this nice little legend here. This is, and then you see we're going to move into high pressure for the next couple of days, which is really nice, really nice. High pressure and all these conditions, 21 degrees, like that's going to be pretty easy breezy for London and most of the UK. If we scroll down here, it's kind of cool because we can even zoom out a little. And you can see this, the high pressure, it just gets even better as we go north, which is I'm heading up north tomorrow actually for a couple days. So we are going to have really good weather. We're going to be feeling good. Your digestion is usually better. Your insulin sensitivity is better, which means you deal with starches and sugars better than low pressure conditions. There's a lot of reasons for that of the interactions that are going on in the body. So it looks like it's a pretty easy breezy couple of days with the high pressure in the UK. So that's really exciting. I love that. So that's the barometric pressure. Before we look at the next spot, we're gonna just talk about the barometer. I use the barometer a lot. It was probably something I didn't use so much until I lived in the UK, but I definitely noticed that certain times different weather would come through and people were getting headaches and all kinds of things. So when the pressure's dropping, when we're on the other side of that, like we just are on a climbing side right now, but when we're on the other side where it's falling, especially when it falls very fast and goes very low, the body might not be able to keep up with adjusting, especially the pH balance, the glucose, all these points of balance. So if you have you can get a little household barometer, which I have this one right here. Let's see, it's really nice. We have the barometric pressure here and the temperature and the humidity. And it's pretty accurate. Like it says exactly what we just saw on the app. Um, so that's really cool. So this here is moving. It's hard to see with all the reflections. This bit here is like a golden, it moves. So wherever it is, you set it. So this is kind of where it was yesterday. No, that's high. Okay, it was over here. It was kind of over here yesterday in the mid-range. I woke up this morning and it's here. It's going up. So then now it'll stay here. So when I wake up in the morning, I can see if it's trending to go higher or lower. So there's a whole bunch of different tools you can use for kind of tracking these things. So you can check your apps and see what's going on, and they'll give you really specific numbers and kind of guidelines for that. The other thing is that you can also check your barometer when you kind of wake up and you're getting started with your day, making your tea. Also, like look out the window and see, is this the same as what I'm seeing, you know? Sometimes there's these flash storms, especially in the spring. Like we had this crazy thunderstorm yesterday. It wasn't even in the forecast. I noticed that everything got really dark, and then I heard the thunder, I heard the rain, and it just rained. It was very dramatic for about an hour. So don't trust one source. You kind of, and don't forget to check actually outside and how that feels, because it might say that it's humid, but sometimes these tools don't track perfectly. So now we're going to have a quick look at Oklahoma City for a contrast. The reason I'm choosing Oklahoma City is I have family there. I lived there as a child, and there's a lot of more dramatic weather there this time of year. So we can kind of learn from that and have a look to apply that to other locations. So let me go ahead and share my screen again, and we will have a look at what's going on in Oklahoma City. Okay, Oklahoma City Biometeorological forecast. You can see here that it's a 4. It's already higher. Like 4 out of 5 means like there's definitely, you want to be paying attention to what's going on there. There's some low pressure, so that will be kind of the residual from what we talked about Monday, that the pressure is dropping quite quickly over there. Again, the geomagnetic conditions, that's going to be the whole planet. When we're getting that activity, everyone in the world gets that. It isn't usually particular to a certain place, although it can be worse in the higher altitudes. For example, if the northern lights, auroras are coming through in that location, and here we have, this is a 3. So this is higher coming from the UV. We look at the UV index. It is really high. especially in the middle of the day, which I think is just about now. So now let's have a look here. It's 36 degrees Celsius. Is that the current temperature? Yeah, that is the current temperature is hot. 96 to 97 degrees. UV index is 9 out of 11 on this particular site. And what else do we want to look at? The humidity isn't too bad. That's tonight. The humidity is relatively low for the area. And where's the wind? There's a little bit of wind. Looks like the actual wind here is different than what's in the forecast. So again, you probably just want to go outside and see how windy it is. The wind is pretty crazy over there in the plains. And now let's go to the barometric pressure of Oklahoma City. See, it's super low. It's still recovering. Let's go to that nice 6-day graph. So here we are. See, like we talked about on Monday, it just went down, 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 really, really low. You may have experienced, if you're in that area, headaches, migraines, joint pain, sinus congestion, or just fatigue. So now there's a little uptrend coming. Still low, so it'll take a few days. You might want to go for those apple cider vinegar drinks or some kind of tangy sauces, vinaigrettes, citrus to help support your system. The body will come back into balance on its own, and you might need more sleep to help that. And also dietary changes like adding these sour kinds of foods or acidic kind of foods will really nudge it back into balance. Okay, so that is what's going on there. So let's go ahead and talk about UV. So the UV index is really high. We're going to see it climbing more and more as we move into the hotter months and it's summer. And a lot of places are trending to have higher and higher UV indexes. You can see that on your weather app. It'll give you, most weather apps will give you that information. You want to stay out of the sun during the day, stay hydrated for sure. I think from my point of view, the biggest dietary tip I would say when the UV index is really quite high is avoid sugars and ultra processed foods, especially when you are spending time out in the sun. Now, the reason for that is that there's evidence that a diet high in ultra processed food and sugar will contribute to free radical damage and a fast accelerated glycation of cells. Now, glycation is when your cells are actually rusting. They are aging in real time. And we don't really want that. We want to keep everything high. It's also dehydrating, ultra processed foods. And it just requires your body to do so much more to deal with it. So especially when you're getting sun exposure, try to stick with fresh, nourishing foods, stay really hydrated, and don't forget your electrolytes. There will be a whole video coming on electrolytes because it's really important and it's one of those things that isn't really clear what that means. So for now, get plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, add some pickles to your sandwich. That'll be a good start from your dietary perspective. And let's see, what else do we have on the thing for today? We're moving through this stuff very well. Just want to go back to solar maximum for a minute because that's going to lead to the topic of sleep. We are in solar maximum right now. The sun has 11-year cycles, and every approximately 11 years, solar activity increases. And as that activity increases, it's causing these geomagnetic activity here on Earth as the activity is sending ripples and reverberations through the space of the solar system, and then it interacts with our atmosphere and the ionosphere interacts with the cells in our bodies. That's the broad strokes of that. And we'll talk more about that as we progress and start learning more. The sun is really volatile right now. When this is happening, we might need more sleep. So solar maximum is not a time to push through no pain, no gain, because already those changes are a stress on the body. So we need to let our body rest so that it can deal with kind of all these cellular interactions that are going through. Like this is stuff we can't even see, but our cells are kind of dealing with it behind the scenes. So if you feel really, really tired, just take a little power nap. I actually spent most of Sunday, I just couldn't get out of bed. I was so, so tired. And I don't know if it was coming from the solar activity, from the full moon, from I don't know, who knows what. The weather was just kind of heavy and humid, but I really did take advantage of, especially on the weekend, or if you can kind of just give yourself some grace and take a break. It's a good time to sleep. And I want to focus on sleep today because sleep is I would say it's kind of a keystone of the main pillars of our health. I think there are 5 pillars that we want to look at when we're trying to make adjustments and improve our life, our health, our body, our mind, our spirit, all of that. We have diet, which there's lots of easy adjustments that can be made. There is movement. We have diet, movement, sleep, of course. Then we have stress and community. So those are the 5 of those. I think sleep is super, super important because it allows you to, when you get enough sleep, your brain is well fueled for the functions that it needs to do that we're not even aware of. And it's also well fueled to have more clarity of thought and concentration. So sleep really is just the essential fuel. Like if there's nothing in the tank, nothing's going to work. Either stuff that you're doing consciously or all those unconscious activities that are happening in all of our circuitry. There we go. Sleep is first because without restorative sleep, all the other things won't be sustainable. Poor sleep puts your body under stress. So if you already have stress and then you don't get sleep, then you have more stress, and it just is sort of starting out this cascade. Preparing for sleep can start 2 to 3 hours before. Sleep hygiene, there's lots of information on this. I think every magazine, a lot of health blogs are always talking about sleep. I really like tracking. I have a smartwatch. I use that to track. I have a sleep app. We can talk more about that um, in a when I dedicate a whole thing to sleep, and a dark shade. So here, those are some things you can do about sleep. You can take a little screenshot of that if you want. So I am a holistic health coach. I also work with one-on-one clients. And if you are interested in focusing on your sleep in the next few weeks and really improving that and to get the result of the cascades, you can send a message. The email is in the notes, and we can have a free initial consultation and see what would be your roadmap. A health coach is a guide to help guide you to the destination you want to get to in your health. And it could be many things. Like if you're going to take a trip, you got a travel, you might get a travel agent or a guide. So you're learning from someone who's already been there, who's tried the things, who has the expert advice. And the same thing when you have a destination of your health. A health coach is your guide to lead you to that destination of health and keep you on track along the way, like a GPS, going right with you every step of the way. So if you're interested in that, I hope to hear from you. And thanks for checking in. Have a good week. Stay safe out there. Protect yourself from the sun and enjoy this easy breezy week here in the UK. I'll see you next time. Bye.